Hello and welcome to English Podcast, where we practice English through engaging storytelling and interactive shadowing exercises. My name is Emma, and I'm so excited to have you join me today. Now, if you're new here, let me quickly explain what we do on this podcast. The method we use is called shadowing, and it's a fantastic technique to improve your English fluency, pronunciation, and listening skills. Here's how it works. I'll tell you a story, and as I speak, I want you to shadow me. That means you repeat after me, word for word, just as you hear it. The goal is not to focus on perfect grammar, but to match the rhythm, tone, and pronunciation of native speech. By doing this, you'll train your ear and your mouth to work together, helping you speak more naturally and confidently in English. This technique is one of the most effective ways to get comfortable with spoken English. And don't worry if you make a mistake along the way. That's part of the learning process. The more you practice, the better you'll get. So feel free to pause, rewind, and repeat as much as you need. There's no rush. The important thing is that you're practicing, and every time you practice, you're getting one step closer to your goal. Before we dive into today's story, let me tell you why this is such an amazing way to learn. When you listen and repeat, you're not only improving your vocabulary, but you're also learning how to use phrases and expressions in context. It's like learning a language through real-life scenarios, which makes the learning process more fun and meaningful. Plus, today's story will help you practice your English in a real-world situation, something we can all relate to. It's about the kind of moment when everything seems to come together, when you're standing at the threshold of a new chapter in life, uncertain yet excited. This story follows a woman named Emma, and she's about to experience a life-changing event. I'll guide you through her journey step by step, and you'll have a chance to practice key phrases and expressions along the way. So, sit back, relax, and let's get ready to practice together. Don't forget to repeat after me as we go along. Whether you're walking, driving, or just relaxing at home, I want you to feel as though you're right there with Emma, experiencing everything through her eyes. Are you ready? Let's get started. It was a cold, gray morning when I stood at the entrance of a tall glass building. My heart was racing. This was it, the interview I had been preparing for months, the job at my dream marketing firm. I had imagined this moment over and over in my mind, but now that it was here, everything felt so real. The rain had been falling steadily all morning, a reminder of how unpredictable life could be. Yet, I couldn't help but smile. This was my chance, and I was determined not to let it slip away. I took a deep breath and stepped inside, feeling the cool air of the lobby wash over me. The reception area was sleek and modern, with glass walls and polished floors. I approached the front desk, gave my name, and was told to wait. I took a seat, my hands trembling slightly as I tried to steady myself. As I sat there, I couldn't help but notice the other candidates. Most of them were dressed similarly to me, all looking just as nervous. Everyone sat in silence, probably lost in their own thoughts. The ticking of the clock on the wall seemed louder than ever. Was I ready for this? What if I wasn't good enough? Finally, after what felt like an eternity, my name was called. My stomach fluttered as I stood up, smoothing down my blazer and walking toward the interview room. It wasn't a long walk, but it felt like the longest 30 seconds of my life. I opened the door and stepped inside. Behind a large wooden desk sat two interviewers. The first was a woman, Sarah, probably in her 40s, with a warm smile that instantly put me at ease. She gestured for me to sit down. The second was a man, James. He was in his 30s, dressed in a sharp suit. He didn't smile, and his serious demeanor made me feel a little uneasy. "Good morning, Emma," Sarah greeted me kindly. "We're happy to have you here. Please, make yourself comfortable." I sat down, trying to keep my nerves under control. I looked around the room, noting the modern furnishings and the view of the city through the large window. It was beautiful. but I quickly turned my attention back to the interview. I needed to focus. This was important. James nodded, but didn't say anything. I forced a smile and waited for them to speak. "So, Emma," Sarah began, her voice warm but professional. "We've reviewed your resume, and we'd like to learn more about you. Tell us, what made you interested in this position?" I had rehearsed this question in my head 100 times, but now, as the words were about to come out of my mouth, I froze for a second. My mind went blank, and I felt a little bit of panic creeping in. But I took a deep breath and steadied myself. I had prepared for this, and I wasn't going to let nerves get the best of me. "Well," I started, "I've always had a passion for marketing. Ever since I was in high school, I've been fascinated by how brands communicate with their audience. I've studied marketing at university, and I believe this position would allow me to apply everything I've learned while continuing to grow and develop in the field." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "That's good to hear, but tell us a little more about yourself. What makes you unique, Emma?" I hesitated for a moment. What made me unique? I wasn't sure how to answer that, but then I realized I had a story to tell. I had a perspective that no one else had. "I think what sets me apart is my ability to balance creativity with structure," I said, finding my voice. "I love coming up with fresh, innovative ideas, but I also believe in the importance of having a solid plan in place. In my past internships, I've always been the one to make sure that our creative ideas were paired with clear, actionable steps." Sarah smiled. "I like that answer. It's important to have both the creative spark and the ability to execute." James, who had been silent up until now, finally spoke. His voice was firm, but not unkind. "Creativity and organization often clash. How do you manage both when you're under pressure?" I knew this question was coming. I had prepared for it, but it still made me pause. How did I manage when things got stressful? "Well," I began slowly, "I think the key is to stay calm and focused. When there's pressure, I make sure to break down the tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces. Once everything is organized, I can allow my creativity to flow freely within that structure. I've found that having a clear plan helps me stay grounded and focused on the big picture." James seemed to consider this for a moment before nodding. "That's an interesting approach. I can see how it would work well in this industry." The interview continued with more questions about my strengths and weaknesses, my experience, working in teams, and how I handled stress. Each question I answered with honesty and confidence, drawing on my past experiences. I could feel myself growing more comfortable as the conversation went on. But then, just as I thought the interview was coming to an end, James asked something unexpected. "Emma," he said, "what would you say is your greatest failure, and how did you handle it?" I froze. My mind raced. This was not a question I had prepared for. How was I supposed to talk about failure? I took a deep breath. This was my chance to show them who I really was, not just a perfect candidate. I needed to be honest. "Well," I began, "I think my greatest failure was during a team project in university. I didn't communicate effectively with my team members, and as a result, we missed a deadline. It was a huge setback for me, but it taught me something important: how vital communication is in a team setting. Since then, I've made it a point to always keep in touch with my team and ensure we're all on the same page." There was a brief silence. I couldn't tell if I had said the wrong thing or if they were processing my response. But then Sarah smiled warmly at me. "Thank you for your honesty, Emma," she said. "It's not easy to admit failure, but it's how we learn and grow that matters most." Relief washed over me. I had been honest, and I knew that was the right thing to do. The interview wrapped up shortly after that. Sarah and James thanked me for my time and told me they'd be in touch soon. I walked out of the room feeling a mix of exhaustion and hope. I had given it my best shot. Now, all I could do was wait. The next few days felt like an eternity. I couldn't stop thinking about the interview. Did I answer the questions well? Enough? What if they didn't think I was right for the job? I tried to stay positive, but the waiting was unbearable. And then, on a bright Thursday morning, my phone buzzed with an email notification. My heart skipped a beat as I opened it. The subject line read, "Offer for the marketing assistant position." I couldn't believe it. I read the email again, just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. "Dear Emma, we are pleased to offer you the position of marketing assistant at XYZ Corporation. Congratulations. We look forward to having you as part of our team." I had been hired. I had done it. So, what can we take away from Emma's story? It's simple. Be honest, be prepared, and never give up on your dreams. We all face challenges and setbacks, but the key is to keep moving forward, learning from every experience. Thank you for shadowing with me through Emma's journey. You've done an excellent job. Remember, the goal of shadowing is to mimic not just the words, but the flow and rhythm of the language. So, if at any point you found yourself getting stuck, don't worry. It's completely normal, especially if you're pushing yourself to speak at a natural pace. With time, this will feel more natural. Now let's go over some of the key phrases from the story. I'll say them again, and I want you to repeat them after me. Ready? Let's begin. I've always had a passion for marketing. Creativity and organization often clash. How do you manage both? It's how we learn and grow that matters most. These are phrases you can use in your everyday life, whether you're discussing your job, your goals, or personal growth. And just like Emma, there will be moments when you'll face challenges, but what matters is how you respond, learn, and grow from them. Remember, shadowing is a process, and every time you practice, you're getting closer to speaking like a native speaker. Don't be afraid to rewind the podcast and practice again. Consistency is key, so keep practicing every day. If you enjoyed this story and want to practice more, don't forget to subscribe to English Podcast. We release new episodes regularly, designed to help you improve your English in a fun and engaging way. Also, if you have any feedback or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to me through our social media or website. I'd love to hear from you. Before we end today's episode, I want to leave you with a thought. The road to fluency is like Emma's journey. It may seem daunting at first, but with determination and practice, you can achieve your goals. So, take it one step at a time. No matter how small, each step brings you closer to where you want to be. Thank you so much for listening, practicing, and shadowing with me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode where we'll continue our journey to fluency together. Until then, keep practicing, stay confident, and most importantly, keep speaking. Goodbye for now, and see you next time on English Podcast.